Well, it's about time we crown a Challengers champion, eh? North America, first cup of the year. It's been fantastic. My name is Corin, with me, Cash. We've got one final best-of-7 series to decide who will be, at least for the preliminary start, the top champion and the ones who hold the bragging rights inside of North America until cup number 2 all the way in the second week of December. That being said, Pioneers have looked good all day. They've won it through the winner's bracket. They are the first team, and we're the first team inside of the grand finals. Opposite side of things, CTE, another team that has looked phenomenal. What you'll see on both of these rosters, though, Amber, both nowhere short of having a full list of ex-pros.
Yeah, and that's something you've come to expect in challengers, especially with how small the league is and only having 48 spots for starters.
Yep.
You're going to see a lot of that. And again, in grand finals, you would come to expect that. Sure, there's been some shakeups. Some teams have maybe fallen short of expectations, but looking at who we've got here as far as the rosters on either side, our cities, Dylan Rex, Johnny, Standy, Pro Hoot, Capsule, and Spar. I mean, again, majority of this lobby, as you had said, ex-pros to some extent. And it's just what more can you say, right? As far as talking about these teams, if you don't know these names, at some point they were household. You think back to
Mhm.
RCDs, the success he had with Atlanta FaZe. You look at what Standy did with Minnesota Rocker and Vegas, Prolu, and his little stint with Optic, as well as Hooks at times. So again, just so many star-studded players that are doing what they are expected to do down here in Challengers,
Yeah.
and it's been a fantastic Sunday between all of these teams. RC Pioneers, or KC Pioneers, they've had the winningest bout towards grand finals from the winners bracket, which has been fantastic. CTE has battled through lowers, and really this could go either way. Either team, again, just looking fantastic coming into this one. CTE with the 3-0 in losers finals against Omit Brooklyn. Look to try to continue that run here through the grand finals.
Look, as a Dolphins fan, there's one thing I know. CTE will always creep up on you no matter where you are. So the fact that it's made it through the lower bracket and all the way back up to our grand finals is a testament to time itself. And, of course, head trauma. So that being said, lots of head trauma will be had on the map here today as these two teams butt heads with one another. Realistically, Amber, though, as we talk about this series, former world champions, former tournament and major winners, tons of talent across the board here, and all looking to make that grandiose start to what will be a wonderful Black Ops 6 season. But you have to start somewhere. Pro points on the cards here, as well as some money in a monetary way. $2,000 to the first place team, $500 to the second place team, and of course the points that will accrue throughout the course of the year. The major tournaments obviously give you the best points on land, but especially at the start of the season to decide tournament seeding going forward into cups 2, 3, etc. And of course, when we do eventually get on land, that is going to be what these players are really playing for, opposed to just the money, although both of these teams have gone ahead and given themselves an opportunity to secure cash.
It's been a great weekend for that. And again, like I said, with so much on the line, these teams have had great performances. And even, though you want to win, right, should be satisfied in a sense of how they've gotten themselves a leg up to start the year. So it's been exciting to see what teams have kind of risen to the occasion and put themselves in this position. And yeah, there is so much on the line because everyone's eyes are going to be on that first LAN event, right? And how you can influence seeding going into that, as you had said. And it's just so, so important, especially getting any kind of leg up or advantage you can going into those tournaments. So there's going to be so many more pro points on the line. There's so many opportunities for teams to shift around. But as far as this first part of the season goes, this is a huge,
Mhm.
huge match between these two teams. Not only, like you said, to get your hands on cash, but to get yourself in a good spot as the season progresses. You don't lose those points. So as you can continue to rack them up, these teams want to. And again, cup number 1 here that we've been able to have the privilege to cover, it's been nothing short of spectacular moments.
Yeah, it has been. All right, so talking about spectacular moments, let's take a look at our map set here. We're going to see a best of 5 on screen, but it is a best of 7. We'll talk about the other 2 maps at the end of it. But to start out, Hardpoint on Rewind, Search and Destroy for our Skyline map 2, Vault Control, Vault Hardpoint, Vault Search and Destroy. The first 4 you see there, guaranteed map set. If it goes 1-1, 2-1, if another team or both teams win a map, or at least guaranteed 5 maps, that Search and Destroy on Vault could be the deciding game, or the Hardpoint before, or, well, not the Control. Last 2 maps to come after that will be Protocol and Rewind, so those will be where we find ourselves towards the end. But just think of it, Rewind sandwich and a Protocol before the Rewind as the 2 maps after the initial 5. Just talking in a generalistic sense, Rewind on Hardpoint, a map that feels a bit weird for some. Others have found success on it early on. Both of these teams, I feel, have the astute capabilities to be able to find themselves a map win in the first map. But I do want to talk about one person in particular, who I actually almost 2, who I feel have been playing great Call of Duty all day long. We'll start with the Pioneers, Rex and Standy. I feel like both of those have been a very high point for this Pioneers roster, and
Hmm.
Amber, I think you'd probably agree with that as well. Standy and Rex in that first series we saw on stream were phenomenal. Second series continue to do the Lord's work for themselves and their teammates. Obviously, Johnny and Arcides aren't far behind. They've been playing team games all day long, but those 2 in particular, at least in my mind, have stood out.
They really have, and Dylan Rex has been making so many key plays in moments where the team needs it most. And sure, you think back to the map on Volt stand he had earlier, where he was simply having his way in the hard point. It's just such a testament to how strong this team is with, again, up and down all four players. Like you said, Johnny RCD's not far behind, but in the moments that they need most, I would say Dylan Rex has been their most clutch player today, whether it be a respawn or a search and destroy. So you need him to keep up that level of productivity in order to kind of elevate this team towards a grand final win. And as you look at the other side of the coin, I mean, you got to think of Hook and Proloot and what they've been
Sure.
able to do. Hook has been an absolute phenom here in the Challengers Cup, and I know everyone calls for any of these players to be in the league, but yeah, Hook is standing out as a god amongst men here, at least as far as the Sunday performance is concerned. He has been an absolute reaper on any map and mode combo. Him versus Standy, as far as the machine guns are concerned, is going to be fantastic. You look at Proloot and Dylan Rex, also going to be a fun AR battle, but again, there has been nothing slowing Hook, and of course, people's main concern with him, right, and why he's not in league per se is consistency. He has shown that today, and he has shown that in this tournament. So whenever he is in final form, yeah, he does look a little bit outrageous against some of these players.
Sure.
He's shown that here, and you hope that he can keep that performance up and really close out a fantastic weekend.
Well, Hook throughout the entirety of Black Ops 6 has been an 8's Reaper, as we've seen for many years in Call of Duty, but here today, again, as Amber said, he's been phenomenal. So, starting off here on our Rewind Hardpoint, P1 inside of the DVD shop. Hook's going to be pushing forward up towards stage. Gunfight's going to be won by him. Players fall from the Pioneers, but they're still inside of the point, at least for the moment. CTE looks to break into the hill.
Proloot picking up at the great clue. And again, just trying to get this kill sidewalk now to open up time for themselves. 3 for 2 in the feed, so that's going to give them clearance to look to push forward. They want to flip these spawns for P2, and if you're KC Pioneers, you want to hold on to this where you can, but Proloot out to it, the spree here, just keep it things safe for his team. You pop out the sidewalk to find a kill. You don't find it, but you're still securing time. So the KC Pioneers got a good amount off the rip. The CTE quickly answering, and it looks like they're going to get the rest of this time. They'll have about a 10 or so point lead going into new as KC Pioneers trying to get to the setup they want.
Bottom left side of the map. Capsule will win a 1v1 gunfight that gives the side of CTE a 4 versus 3, trying to push the KC Pioneers out of position of P2. First 2 red arrows are going to jump on in, but it's 3 dead immediately, and the last player is Proloot all the way across the map, playing that south side route. Going to wait for his teammate, play through Jenny's, and now the team will go ahead and make their final push in through DVD as well as stage. It'll be interesting to see how they break onto the point here. They find Dylan Rex, and that was the flank carrier. So now that you find the few forward kills, you can start to push your way into the point. There's only 2 left.
Spart just trying to lay some shots in, and now he finds himself the final CTE teammate left, and it's been a very clean hold. It's on the precipice of a full 60 if they can clean up this last 25 seconds, and it looks like that could be the case. Maybe a little spoiler being played by Cap, but again, they have every angle taken care of. A good bounce back from where they lost that positioning in P1. Now as we rotate to P3, it's going to be just outside of Burger. Everyone kind of vying for spawns. This is where things get a little bit mixy, where teams try to get control of the map, and Dylan Rex on that rotation trying to look ahead even to P4, where you're going to want these right-hand side spawns. CTE looking to hunt him down this new hill, looking to pop as well. So far with numbers, it will be CTE, but again, they need to sniff out Dylan Rex, and that's exactly what they're doing.
Backline turn snaps to the second thought. For a moment he'd find Capsule. At least for the time being, the answer was no on it. Standy inside of the point. We'll find a few frontward facing players, and as Hook looks to push the street up. Got the AR in hand. Slowly but surely waiting for the reinforcements to back him up. Slide challenge into the dumpster, no good. Proloot the next one up for a gunfight potentially. You got Dylan Rex trying to look through the top north side of the map for the push on down. The KC Pioneers pick up right where they left off. Hill time galore. They're holding things down, not allowing CTE even an opportunity to get across the map.
Holding this from the front has seemed to be, for a lot of teams, the better approach to this site. It's just so tough when you get pinned back, even in a spawn trap. Of course, thinking ahead to the next hill, it can just be so hard to battle out and get any substantial P3 time. So a good job out of KC Pioneers to recognize that, hey, we don't have spawns right now, but at the very least, we can take care of time. They have themselves a 55-point lead, looking to hit that rotation, and a big gunfight is going to be won on the bottom side of the map by Standy. So that opens up that Jin lane for them to fly forward. Everyone on the retreat for CTE, and minimal information on where this push is coming from.
Probably the biggest swing moment of the game right here is CTE have locked themselves down inside of P4 on an early rotation. They've been playing for scraps thus far for the first 3 hills. This time as they pushed up through the map, though, the Pioneers are able to go 2 for 1 on the kill feed. Dylan Rex will be able to fly his way in. Still 2 players here on the side of CTE, and the close spawns were there initially, but they're going to be flipped out back across the map, spawning over by Burger. Dylan Rex will find himself another beautiful kill as the Pioneers hold on the hill. CTE spawn far across the map again. They held the hill down for about, what, 15-20 seconds, but alas, it was no match for the Pioneers as they break back in.
And the two star-studded players we had talked about for CTE looking to have a slow start in this one. Cap, Spar, again, two players that can very much step up, but whenever the team needs it most, they're trying to rally Proloot and Hoop behind them here to get things going as some egregious gunfights come in with the handgun, and it's a pinstripe kill feed as we look to rotate to new Generator Hill. Again, you win rotation if you're CTE. These gunfights not quite going your way as you're getting outslayed early.
Everybody collapsed upon generator setup. The 2-2 split on the outside for Pioneers as they fly in. Arcides will be the first one there, turns back around. Cap still survives with low HP. Sparty from behind gets shot through. Now it's going to be the Pioneers looking from the outside in. Last player surviving inside of the point is going to be Capsidol, and as he falls, the Pioneers break early once again. It was Arcides that caused the distraction beforehand, trades that came through, and as the Pioneers go all blue in the kill feed and more costly mistakes as Sparty blows himself up, CTE fumbling to their own misdoings.
Next push looking to come in, but really for CTE, you can't even get close. KC Pioneers taking those gunfights at mid-range, not even letting contest time come in, as now they've looked to double the score line here, and all four players are on the outside. I mean, surely a broken clock's right twice a day. You would think if you throw enough bodies, something surely could stick, but it's Johnny on the flank. Johnny trying to find the kill, and there he is. Scrap time going the way of KC Pioneers, as now they eclipse really that 150-point mark as we're back to P1.
Tried to bully ball it into P5. Just didn't leave yourself a consolation play on the outside. So now as we find ourselves in our second set of power points, the Pioneers up by almost 100 points here in a very trying map 1. Sparty laying down on the inside. Proloot still dancing around with Dylan Rex on the opposite side of the map. He's trying to play for P2 positioning, and we'll get it just in the nick of time. But as you look back across, you've got Standy who's looking to make the play. The Pioneers don't want to push in just yet. They're being patient, but they're losing numbers.
Losing time as well. Proloot continuing to beam, starting to heat things up. Only measly 7 and 12, but again, with how he's shooting, you know, he's looking a little more comfortable around the map. A couple players fall, but you are still garnering time, looking to eclipse that 100-point mark and close this 60-point deficit. You waltz right in if you're Johnny as your teammate cleans up the kill, and now you look to find whatever more you can on top of it. There goes one. Last player in the back. The comm's going to be in that heat cross towards P2, so expect that cleanup to come in, but of course, it is very much Hook, and he is a very tough player to bring down, so he survives, finds a couple, buys his team an opportunity to keep these spawns, and that very much will be the case now. 5 seconds until the new hardpoint. CTE look to be in control of P2.
Yeah, glad you pinned on that. Hook probably had the biggest gunfight of the map so far for the CTE roster to secure those P2 spawns. Question is, though, how long will the Pioneers take to be able to break this hill as they've done every single time against the CTE roster so far? It's been playing from the back, but as they start to crawl their way back further and further into a position to where they might be able to cut that Pioneers lead all the way to its deficit, we start to look across the map back over by Burger. Gun starting to light up in the kill feed. All red as it continues to fly through. Nobody wanting to push up just yet. They're waiting till they have full numbers. 30 seconds left on a push here. And you got to make sure that you don't flip the spawns completely if you are the Pioneers trying to break into this at in time of P2.
I mean, Hook started, what was he, 4-9 at one point? I mean, again, he and Proloot both completely turned things around. Cap and Sparty has not quite slowed down, but Cap now just kind of maintaining, doing what he needs to, the dirty work around the map. But now that Proloot and Hook have arrived, yeah, you look to see this deficit start to be wiped away. You get the last bit of scrap time if you are KC. You don't give up on it, and now the spawns look to flip exactly what you want if you're CTE, an overextension if you're KC. But once again, they held this from the front successfully, so maybe not in too bad of a position here as the new hill looks to pop.
Got 3 players playing on the inside right now. Pioneers don't want to break out just yet. Shots a little late there as Proloot's able to get the good snap. Back out towards the street. Capsidol flies in and slides through with the Jackal in hand. He's able to make quick work of 2 players on the Pioneers roster. And now you look to Sparty, who's playing inside of the point. Tons of time to get here if you are CTE. The Pioneers from Burger gonna jump out the window. Second one looks to challenge here in a moment. Spart has some shots in the window. Arcity stays alive for the moment, but the reinforcements are here. Help has been on the way for quite some time as Hook is up to 24 kills. He's frying on the map. CTE within 15 points of being able to tie the game up.
Cap just mid-map Reaper. No one's been able to cross the 50-yard line through P1 as far as he is concerned. Again, the split's been perfect. Your 2 players watching over each other P3, and then your other 2 making sure the spawn flip doesn't come in. Fantastic job. Fantastic coordination out of CTE here, where things look a little dire. They now find themselves the lead for the first time in this one since the early portions of the game. Well earned by the squad. And just look how much space they're taking up on the map. Pioneers have to clear so much out before they can even get halfway across the map. And now as they look to work up, again, they don't know Spart is behind them, so he'll find a couple cheeky kills, and now trying to find anything in and around the site. You are given nothing. The information you get, they are gone like a ghost, as are you back to the respawn block. Now eclipsing the 200-point mark. CTE are on a roll.
Tough gunfights on the south side of the map as you're trying to push the backside of P2 for CTE right now. All you're trying to do is just play contention. Dylan Rex is there, but Prolu will slide, snap, and challenge immediately. 2 players up on the map, only 1 pushed all the way forward, and as that player falls, CTE continues to extend on their lead. They are frying on every inch of the word and every cent of the map at the moment. Standy trying to just find some sort of positioning, but the Pioneers, you've been pressed to take a map off them all day. CTE within 30 seconds of just doing that.
And it was a combined 10 teams, 3 before a player ended up falling. So you get one last contestant. Here you go to win a couple of gunfights and look to press this to P5 so you live to fight another day. Again, though you contest it for a moment, you don't get the rest of the time. So it is going to be about 15 seconds here for CTE to take it. And you're going to need yourselves well over 1 hard point's worth of time if you are KC Pioneers, but it starts here. It starts now. You've got a decent setup.
Oh, no.
Unfortunately, you don't have a decent gunny as Hook on a 30 and 20 tear on a 7 spree himself.
Here we go. Breaking to the point. Hook is there. Arcity is the last man of defense. It's going to be a hellstorm over the top. Here comes Hook on 8 in a row. Looks to find the first 2 challenging out the backside. Couple are going to track a few. Not able to find anything, but he backs the opposite side all the way off. 4 seconds left. The Pioneers trying to desperately push back into the point. It's a contestation right down towards the end. And as Prolude's able to line up one, he can try to slide challenge back in. Arcides is weakened up, but there's a few more players here. They'll hold on for dear life at the moment, but the side of CTE's not done. They're going to continue to throw bodies at this. Sparty lines him up. Hook is there. Last player alive is going to be the man himself and Johnny. And as he falls, CTE will come back in map 1 to take a 1-0 series lead.
Whew! Electric. It's just at the start, it looked like KC Pioneers really got themselves out to a good lead. I mean, hell, it was almost 100 points at one point. It was well over 60, 70. And just it looked composed and at the pace that KC Pioneers have been playing, which is controlled. And again, I keep saying discipline, but really that's the word that comes to mind. It's just whenever they control the pace of the game, it's just a little bit slower, a little more methodical. And then we talked about, Hook and Prolu having that slow start. Well, once they got going, that's where the game kind of flipped on its head. So we talk about them being the leaders and kind of those stars on the team, the ones that break out and really change the complexion of a game. They did exactly that the back half of the hard point, and they did not look back.
No, they did not. I mean, you could point to a couple moments throughout the entire game for CTE, for those moments that turned things around. I kind of looked to that last burger hold that they had where they started to really put themselves into a good position. But it kind of started on that first rotation after the first 5. When we got back to P1 on rotation 2, they sat inside of that hard point. They were able to make themselves aware of where the Pioneers were on the map. And I feel like once they got that generalized game sense and they found map control, they never let that go. Every time that we went to a POV of one of the Pioneers players, it just felt like they were getting gunned out of their socks. CTE put themselves in such a good position around the map to where they didn't even have to double check an angle, triple check an angle, even check it for the first time. They knew where the opposition was going to be, and that is what was so impressive about CTE. And of course, winning your 1v1s is huge, so that helps as well.
Yeah, Hook had that big 2-piece on the backside rotation, like you talked about that second set of rotations in P1. They were doing such a good job, but we called to that 1v1, ended up being a 1v2 that Hook had for P2 rotation, and he's able to take it, and that kind of lit the fire under him to continue that slaying, rolling the rest of the map, and again, Prolu beaming on P1 as we saw as well. It just was those moments that we got to catch the POV of to see when they really got things started, and that wouldn't happen without Cap and Spark getting the start that they did as well, and kind of keeping them afloat in that before the rest of the team found footing. So it was a well-rounded effort. No matter who started or who finished hot, the team won at the end of the day, and that's what you look for, especially in the grand finals here. And I think KC Pioneers are a little bit shocked. I think it feels like kind of a stunner because, like you said, I feel like they were getting gunned even off spawn at times. It just seems like the game got away from them so fast that, yeah, maybe, at least to me, it was even a shocker how quickly things unraveled for them.
Yeah, it really did. We'll take a look at the scoreboard real quick from map 1, kind of digest everything that we saw. Again, slow starts from a few players on the CTE roster, but you look to the one and the only Hook, as he has been playing phenomenal Call of Duty, not just in this tournament this weekend, but across the board since Black Ops 6 has come out. Pro lobbies, 8s, whatever it may be, he has been frying across the board. 32 and 21, 27, only 5 kills were traded on Hook throughout this map. 44 seconds in the hill. Sure, Sparty did most of the hard digging when it came to the hill time, but regardless, that is just a wonderful stat line. Everybody almost positive on the side of CTE at the end of the game. There were some good starts from the Pioneers as well, just some things that didn't go their way. Arcides didn't look all too that comfortable on the AR role throughout the game, so maybe that's a problem that could be fixed up. But I mean, it's just map 1, it's one game, but I mean, in a best of 7 series where you only take 4 to win and there's no bracket reset, realistically speaking, one map can feel like a deficit and a bigger hole than it might actually be.
It really can be, and again, just to kind of hit home that point of it was a team map for CTE. You look at Cap, and sure, 28 and 24, kind of a modest scoreline in a sense, but he led the entire lobby in damage dealt and had 22 non-traded kills themselves. You look at Spart, okay, still had a fantastic KD performance in a sense, 230 in the hill. Prolute, though he had a slow start going, again, only 4 of his kills were traded, and a lot of that kickstart, right? His KD doesn't tell the whole story of the map. A lot of that started after the first set of rotations. So you kind of
Hmm.
look at the numbers and maybe at face value they tell you one thing, but having watched it, having known, what this team strung together to get this map 1 win, yeah, it was fantastic out of them. And like you said, for KC Pioneers, things just kind of fell through the cracks and they couldn't quite keep up when the pacing and tempo really turned up for CTE. So it seems like you said, we're harping on the fact that this map 1 went to CTE and what it means for the rest of the series. But given that you don't have that refresh of a bracket coming from that winner side for KC Pioneers, yeah, you
Yeah.
definitely need to make sure you take care of business. And to come out and make a statement like that, though the scoreline doesn't necessarily say statement per se, CTE have definitely shown that they are coming to play and really think that they can take this grand finals. And for KC Pioneers going into map number 2 on Skyline, it's one we've
Hmm.
seen them handle earlier. It's just something where, again, they've started flat-footed pretty much all of Sunday,
Yeah.
and the matches we've seen and where they haven't started slow, they found themselves 3-0 victories, but they're the only team that's been taken to a map 4 where they've been caught lacking, whether it's the start of a hard point or an entire map 1. So the bounce back is imminent, and you know that they're going to have some kind of answer formulated. Again, you just lose those opportunities where when are you going to get punished for starting slow in a series? And perhaps this grand finals could be the one. CTE, they look unstoppable at some turns.
I can tell you, CTE is an unstoppable force, and they will continue to be that throughout the entire series. Now, it depends on if the Pioneers are an immovable object or not. That will be the difference maker come map 2. I do want to kind of just put like a neat bow on that as well, just a kind of perspective, kind of what you were saying about being a statement win. For the side of Pioneers, you were up probably what I believe it was like 155, 160 at one point
Mhm.
when we went back to the P1 rotation after P5. So it was already a hefty margin when it came to the total lead that the Pioneers had built on CTE. Within the second rotation, because we went back to P5 and that's where we ended. Within the next 5 hard points, are called 4.5, whatever you'd like to do. Pioneers only got about 40, 50 seconds at most when we're talking, total hard point accrual time.
Mhm.
And that just simply can't happen, especially when you're rotating on some of these early. Like they got the burger first and they were broken out of burger like that.
Yeah.
They could not break into P2. There was just no physical way that they were able to break out into that back left corner. And sure, if you want to say that's a hard hill to break, I'd understand that and I'd agree with you. But regardless, like it didn't even look like they were giving it too many tough attempts. They kind of let that go with like
Mhm.
25 seconds. So like, all right, we have a lead. Let's just go P3. That's when they got broken out of burger. Then we go over to P4. And P4 is really where that all got out of hand. Nobody could push that back streak. Hook was on the God truck all the way deep on the south side of the map. And then when they tried to push up through the small doors there, it was just burger lockdown from SWAT to truck all the way on that side of the map. Nobody was getting through that line of defense. That's why that map 1 looks so staunchly different in the second set of rotations than it did to the first set. And that is why I think CTE have something special cooking right now.
Mhm.
Skyline Search and Destroy, let's talk about it. Pioneers have looked good in their S&Ds all day long. Sure, CTE also have looked good in their S&Ds all day long, and that comes down to a couple factors. One, we have world championship talent on both of these teams. S&D, obviously, as the cliche as old as time says, S&D wins championships. Let's go
Mhm.
back into that factor. Hook has been playing great, and with Spart paired on that roster, you put both of those on SMG roles and you let them go fly out the map. You're looking at a great value version of the Tiny Terrors, right? And that's the fun way to watch that. It's the same thing when you look at the Pioneer side and you put Rex and Standy on the map. You tell them to go crazy, run in their spawn, do whatever you like. Just get us some map presence, take up
Mhm.
some space. We'll get there. So here we go. Map number 2, CTE up 1-0 over the Pioneers in this grand finals. It's already 2 kills that go the way of the Pioneers, but it's a 2 it's just going back immediately. We talk about bang out S&D. This map is the definition.
Now, as quickly as you found 2 kills off the rip, KC Pioneers, Dylan Rex finds himself in a 1 versus 2 situation and simply going to get gunned out of his boots. CTE, a quick, convincing round number 1 to kick things off. And just a quick little point here for Skyline Search specifically. Last time, and the only time today that the Pioneers have played this, they won it in a 6-1 fashion. So they definitely are no strangers to comfortability on this map and what they want to do. But CT come out decisive, and again, just rip off 3 straight kills to put you immediately in a man disadvantage situation. 3 of those kills found in the round by Spart as well. Defensively, hold strong. Now offensively, we'll see what they look to bring. Probably leaning towards the safe site.
Look straight through. Standing on the outside of the bar. Arcades will look over towards the left side of Jim. Inside of Piano. Not the most advantageous gunfight, I'd say, out of Pro Loot, but it's not all bad. Capsule pushes straight through to the bedroom. In from behind, Sparty is there once again. So now the Pioneers looking another disadvantage. 2 versus 3. CTE have the bomb down.
And both times they've walked away with the first bloods in the round, and that's not to say this is over, but definitely throwing lives away at moments. And again, just an awkward chow out of Standy there to maybe almost eyes looking in 2 different spots at the same time, trying to look at bomb while also trying to get eyes up. And it's just 2 guns staring you down as you look to check bomb. CTE walk with another round. Spart still on 5, keeping that spree rolling and looking to try to work quickly through the search and destroy, as these have not been slow and methodical rounds really at all.
Once you get to that top level of Skyline Search and Destroy, it's a race to take the power positions over. Either get caught in the crossfire, caught in the chaos, or thrive in it. First 2 rounds, CTE has done the latter of the 2. So now we look forward to what will be another hopefully exciting Search and Destroy round. Sparty's on 5 in a row, looking to continue potential streaks. Standy and the boys now pushing their way forward. Into the bar we go. Semtech's going to hit the roof as they fly in forward. Nade's going to be able to clean up 1. Dylan will pop for 2. Make it number 3. Hello, Dylan! Good to see you, my friend. It was only a matter of time until he activated.
And there we go. Dylan Rex, again, has been the one-man wrecking ball all day. When his team needs the most, he's able to answer the call. And here we're going to see pretty clean, pretty crispy play out of him. Snaps the Spart there and takes him off his spree. Feeling good going into this upcoming round is, as you said, it was only a matter of time here. They strike back with 1 round, now the lead's 2-1.
Exciting stuff there from the Pioneers. Or should I just say Dylan Rex himself. Although the name says Standy on the scoreboard, rest assured it was Dylan who was able to take those 3 gunfights inside of the bar. Capsidal, looking to get aggressive immediately, breaks the glass, gets towards top bedroom, doesn't look back 1 inch. Standy will get the bomb down. Arcades looks around. First blood goes the way of the Pioneers as Arcady pops not 1 but 2. Escapes with his life to the back end. 4v2 for the Pioneers.
Spart trying to make some noise. Chases player up staircase, but again, you are chasing. Ghost doesn't find the timing. Now caught in the reload. Gonna try to get the kill, but again, not going to be the case. Your teammate cleans things up on the other side of things. Quickly answering back with 2 rounds of their own is gonna be KC. And now we've got ourselves a bona fide search and destroy.
Not too upset about it. Again, it's just the decision for the Pioneers on offense to say, all right, we're going to try and get the bomb down on A. We're going to take the most position that we can on bar side. Force them to retake on us. If they can win the gunfights, cool. If they can't, all right, no worries. So go back to another offensive round here for the side of CTE. See if they decide to bang out A once again, or maybe take the desperate push over to B, which we don't see too often.
This is the point in the search and destroy where, yeah, maybe you want to see something a little more unorthodox, and maybe it's going to be CTE that give it to us. Quickly working through P1, backing down KC Pioneers. Got Dylan Rex in a position to maybe chow, but again, they're continuing with that peppering fire to block them out of this line of sight. As they try to work forward, you're still going to walk away with the first gunfight. If you are KC Pioneers, you're in the BS&D side, and dude must have thought he was going to hit the World Star there. Not quite the case. The round falls apart in front of you, and as the kill feed was flying blue, I was still trying to piece together what exactly the thought process was there. Dare I say a little CTE?
Look, it's one of those things where it's like, this happened when we were doing MW3 earlier in the day for Nace. It's like, I respect the idea. It doesn't mean the idea was something that was well thought out. So if he wins that gunfight, we say, oh my god, he got absolutely spit on. If he loses the gunfight, it's the conversation we're having right now. So it's what the F are you doing? Yeah. We'll reset though. Top of the board, Pioneers win 3 straight. Sparty already wins the gunfight onto the player outside. So night. 2-1 of the Pioneers members early on here in the round. Standy looking to push up, has the RC car on 5 in a row.
Landing angle. Maybe not quite at range, find the kill with the Jackal. At least information, but you never know. Jackal's done some ungodly things here early on in Black Ops 6. The shuffle of players going around. Cap's going to connect for another. Cap's gonna connect for a third in the round. Cap with the team kill. Cap's gonna take them all. Well, I mean, why not, big man?
Like I said, head trauma when the CTE name is mentioned.
Something special happens.
Cap might want to put a cap on, or maybe a guardian cap for old time's sake, but through and through, that's a great bounce back round despite all the other things that happened earlier on in that round for CTE. If you can have one player get 3, 2 players get 2, or whatever it may be, as long as you take the round, you're feeling happy. But for CTE, that was a big one after 3 straight from the Pioneers. So we go back to an offensive assault. Pioneers looking to spread the map out, probably in a 3-2 setting. You've got the look over towards top. You find a few players potentially scattered around, but nobody looking to give anything away just yet. Information not really given to either team just yet.
Attack's coming through. Forward position looking to be taken, but Cap will get the clearance, get the call to put this bomb down. As the rest of his team, Spark also looking over the top. Doesn't get the timing. Staircase starts to wiggle around this hot tub as Cap opens up for a couple more. I mean, why not? Doesn't get the bomb down, but it does not matter. Or it gets the bomb down. Pardon the podcaster curses once again, but again, it's just Cap opened up with a couple. The rest of the team cleaning things up. Spark buys good time on the top side of the map, and that allows the teammates to get in positions to clean up the bottom side. And that another great round out of CTE.
I mean, there's so many things that can be said about strategy on this map. Rather, lack thereof things to say. You got the 2 sites, but it's more or less just a bang out to find information first or take that first blood. It's not really like, hey, let's execute something crazy here. You might have a few set nades that you can toss here and there. But other than that, you're just trying to get people off of positions. Maybe catch somebody off guard as Capsule does there. But in towards the side, Dylan's looking for one. Oh, he thought he finished the kill. And before I can even blink and think of what's going on, that round is over. And now we're at a 5-3 advantage to CTE, who are now on match point.
It's just, as you just think, Pioneers rip off 3 straight rounds. And you're like, okay, you know, we've got a search. We've got a back and forth battle. But again, who has won the rounds that are 1,000 miles an hour? CTE. They just love to play at that speed, and Pioneers have not been able to handle that. The 3 rounds they run were the slower rounds that were played, were the 1v odds that they maybe had to clutch up on. A couple of big moments where kills went one way, but when you're allowed to sprint at people the way who Cap, Proloot, and Spart are, yeah, they're gonna be feeling themselves at this point. And you can see Knives Out still crossing mid-map, flying around the map. Sure, you're gonna get taken down there, but that's just a testament to show you how these guys are feeling at this point in search.
Well, at least we get a trade-off this time. It hadn't been like that for a few rounds for the Pioneers. Hook playing inside a gym. Be trying to spot somebody out. Prolu's going to watch his teammates cross. Hook should be able to get this down on A. Standy's making a long route under in the rat spot. So while that unfolds, Prolute over by P1 will be able to snap to 1. You find shots onto the second. Johnny very wise to just run away on this one as Dylan comes through on the flank. 2 versus 2.
Johnny, your position of making moves, and Hook, I love this spot out of him. Does he have the patience to play it? I mean, you might as well. It's a 2 versus 1. You have the site locked down, and look who's home. Hook, the nuke, strikes again. CTE, take map number 2. Dare I say, convincing fashion. Again, just another stellar performance out of them. Sure, KC Pioneers rip off 3 straight rounds, but apart from that, it's just there was nothing for them. It's just it played some of those rounds like a respawn where it was, can you go, can you win your ones, or it was CTE popping 2-3 pieces. We saw what Capsule did a few rounds ago. Plain and simple, CTE are just on another level here tonight.
Yeah, I mean, when you allow yourselves to dictate the pace of a map, very rarely do you lose unless your teammate's kind of just countering you perfectly. The Pioneers had really no counter except for the 3 rounds that they were able to tally off one after another. It was just straight up and down, just I'm gonna headbutt, run through a wall, you're not gonna kill me, I'm gonna kill you. That's confident Call of Duty, and I like that. It's not the style of Call of Duty we always see. Sure, we see it maybe on like, you think last year, like Rio Search and Destroy, where you just, send 3-4 up to top mid, and that's kind of all we saw of that, and that was, I guess, a precursor to what we see this year, where it's just, we're moving across the map, and if you shoot at us, we're probably all gonna snap back to you. It's team shots that are coming out from all of CTE right now. They're gunning on all sides, and I do mean that quite literally. So just looking across the board here at the series at the moment, we're going to go to a vault control after this, but if you thought CTE were in the lower bracket because they were playing bad Call of Duty today, no, they might have had a series that they faltered in, but I promise you one thing, they are here to upset this Pioneers roster in a grand final that so far has been undoubtedly special.
And already, again, blink and you miss it type of thing. They only need to take 2 maps in order to close out this grand finals, which again, sure sounds simple as far as the terminology goes, and perhaps why I even threw it out. There's still going to be what I would think to be a bit of battling going on here in this series, but you look at the score lines, right? They are a bit closer than maybe the 2-0 would say. But again, if you know how they went, right, the back half of both of those maps absolutely tell and paint a different picture. Gonna have triple vault coming up next, where again that could be where the series ends for us on one of at least those back 2 maps. Either way, CTE looking phenomenal here in this grand finals appearance. Pioneers have played such a good weekend, had such a good run, minimally, not necessarily contested, but more so confidently winning, not taken to a map 5 at any point. You think to CTE where they've been reverse swept, they were reverse swept by Omit Brooklyn, come out and 3-0 them, or excuse me, 3-1 them in the losers finals. It's just something where the bounce back they've had once they went to the losers bracket,
Yep.
definitely one for the ages in the sense of this kickoff title and what they're doing here to Pioneers.
Well, live betters, get your cards ready, get your side bets going. Before we hit into map 3, we've got 2 potential maps left in this series before this thing is shut out into 4-0. If you're a Pioneers fan, hopefully you're getting yourself a nice glass of water to sit back, relax. Hopefully it's going to be a long series for your enjoyment. If you're a CTE fan, which I don't know anybody that's a fan of CTE, but if you are a CTE fan, word to Antonio Brown, you're feeling quite confident about the matchup so far. Hashtag CTE ESPN. We'll be back after a short break. Challengers Cup #1 for North America continues in a second. Well, the caster curse works with us and it works against us sometimes. We get into the game about after, I don't know, say 30, 35 minutes of waiting. And of course, the one time we hop into the game, I was doing laundry. Cash was stepped away from the setup. And our producer was also stepped away for a moment. But we're finally in here for map 3 of the grand finals between CTE and the KC Pioneers in the first Challengers Cup of North America. Dylan Rex and the KC Pioneers leaving off where they left off in the first map and series of the day for control, up 5 lives on a defense hold. This has been wonderful so far.
Dylan Rex continue to wreak havoc and spawn against the CTE squad, and really just no lane for them to push through to get towards the site. Fortunately, they do have 2 ticks, but unfortunately, they have 25 seconds to work with, and they've made hardly any headway. Out of spawn as Johnny cuts down a couple more, and now you're just trying to find a lane to get in. Everyone going to collapse around this A point, surely. As you know, that's the only avenue, the only route they can get in. ProLuke going to try to find any kind of timing, but he's going to make a massive play here to get something to stick.
Helping shots with 1. Stall the clock out at 7.5 seconds. Players starting to run back into the A zone. Should be able to complete this all the way through and will. Underneath in the vault, one's laying down. Johnny's waiting for it. There's a joke to be made there somewhere in the cards. Hook trying to wrap back up towards the top end side. Tosses a nade down under the vault. Nobody there to speak of yet. Backs one off, but the shots are good as he tries to push his way up the map. Pioneers holding strong on defense, still with a 5 life advantage. 50 seconds left to get the B zone.
Oh, another clean kill feed coming through. That's going to back you up and reset your progress at least 10 to 15 seconds to work up even towards the site. And look at the minimap. Johnny really feeling himself, having his way, trying to push these spawners towards this top right corner and in a great position to play cutoff. Now it's just a matter of bleeding the clock and, well, bleeding the lives as there's just 3 remaining here. The crossfire comes in. Time dwindling, lives dwindling. This one going to be done. Nothing here in a few moments.
Well, have yourself a game early, man. 12-4 start here on defense for Big Johnny of the Pioneers, but that is a great first opening round for KC. So, look, I mean, you can do as much as you want inside the middle of the map. Getting over to the B zone is so incredibly difficult already, let alone when you're down lives and the clean kill feeds, as Cash mentioned, are coming through. I mean, 3 and 4 downs are not going to get you not only map position, but a zone capture at the same time. So, you're looking at a 1-0 lead if you are the side of KC. Got to do what the other team couldn't, though, on offense.
And earlier, in winners final in the control against Omit Brooklyn, it was a vault control, and KC Pioneers were able to take it in a 3-0 fashion, and that was with 2 offensive rounds. So as far as this is concerned, they are no strangers to taking offensive rounds. CTE, just a bit ago against Omit Brooklyn, took 2 offensive rounds to 3-0 Omit Brooklyn on vault control. So again, as far as the offenses are concerned, know that at any moment, either of these teams can make magic happen, though there's still a defensive advantage. Neither of these teams are strangers to making big plays, and off the opening break defensively, going to clean house and going to look to work these players back as Cap connects for a big one. That's going to clear the site for the time being. KC Pioneers working from the start.
More than okay with that if you are CTE. You'll push back to the opposite side spawn. It was Standy doing it earlier in the game. It's time for Spark to go ahead and have his opportunity to run buck wild in the spawn. 5 life advantage already built up for CTE, as this opening break has been anything but just for the KC Pioneers.
Hook. Trying to get a little loose. Trying to get a couple players as no one's quite sniffed him out yet. Maybe unaware of his position as, well, full side of the map's open. KC going to try to work through it, but again, you have these players in these AR positions like Cap looking over things like Player and Spart who was playing Catwalk. They get picked apart though, and that's allowed Johnny to slip the net, maybe try to cut some other players working back towards the site, but Cap privy to it, able to find the gunfight kill, and sure, yeah, you're able to work towards this A site now, but the collapse quickly going to come in with how little time is left. Dylan Rex opens up with 1, tries to slow down a couple more, but his team starting to stop the clock.
Good pre-fired shot with a nade as well as a jackal to help supply the rescue of his teammate. Good enough for the Pioneers to at least stall the clock and get the first tick of progress on A. Semtex is tossed up and over. Maybe try to find 1 or 2 inside of the building. Stop the progress as much as they can, but CTE, they're going to be happy with this regardless. 8 life advantage. Potentially not even the full progress on that A zone, and with 15 seconds left, kill feed continues to bleed and fly red. Great space taken up in CTE, I mean. That's just a royal route right there.
Can't ask for much better. In the same way that, as you said, they got routed by KC, they dish it back in turn. Another 10 life discrepancy. Not even the A site secured, so they find themselves up in tick progression as well. Back to the offensive try. Maybe gonna rework things, rethink how they want to approach it here. as they would love to get an offensive round here in such a defensive touted mode.
Best of 7 series between CTE and the KC Pioneers. Grand finals on the line. No losers bracket to go down to. It is a win and you are the champion here. First to 4 maps, CTE up 2-0 at the moment. Opening break off, you're going to be 1. You get yourself in the process, but at least you're able to find a bit of progress through the middle of the map. Starcity's the last one to lock things down for KC and towards A. Now they try to break out towards B. The north side of the map is the destination of these CTE players. Hook up inside of top art, trying to take the power position away from the Pioneers, and they've done a good job at it thus far. 4 in a row for himself. Hasn't had a standout game thus far, but at the same time, he's back to the hook where he kind of used to, flying up the map and doing what he must.
And he's just simply buying time for his team to work on the map. Now you have 2 players hunting for Hook top art. They simply cannot find an angle to take him down. I thought for a second that was going to work out for him, dealt enough damage. But again, a team nade even comes in at that. So making the team in the opposition make costly mistakes. And that again just looks to buy his teammates time towards A to try to work the site, find these kills. And as you see these red kills starting to trickle in the feed, more and more confident is CTE about capturing the site and looking to make that push, but the north side of the map completely controlled by KC Pioneers. They need to make sure they lock this down before they give up any crazy positioning and get themselves in a good spot for the round.
I was going to say, that whole thing set up, as you said, because 2 players, almost 3, were all kind of concerned about Hook in the back into the building. That allowed CTE to spawn up close inside of A and eventually go ahead and get that capture point. 17-17. Good shots through the middle of the map, won't connect with any for now. But in towards the back line, Arcities will be playing this defensive hold. Very long shots on the Prolute and Hook are going to be good, but it's a trade that doubles back. So it's a 2-2 split that allows CTE map position. They don't realize that Johnny's all the way in the back end. Did somebody maybe hear a door open? I don't think Prolute did, but he's turning around looking like somebody might be here. Good shots in for 1. Can't snap to the second. Needs to try and stay alive, but the wall bang's too nice out of cap.
Now they're pushing forward, 2 kills down on the feed cap, starting to take up space, starting to cut off these reinforcements as they look to push these spawns out. Just 1 player left on time, gets the rat back for it, and not able to get the kill. Dancing around, but Dylan Reg's gonna snap and finds the kill. One of the hardest on the map at that. Still 80 seconds to work with. A 2 life disadvantage if you are CTE, but you don't have to rush this. You don't have to fly. You have 2 full team pushes. Work a couple picks, see what you can do from there. You don't have to scramble.
Okay, the tough gunfight. I probably won't chow that again. That's probably a smart one out of our city to play that long angle. Good shots in from Hook to at least stop 1. When you're talking about a 6v9, all of a sudden the world starts getting smaller and smaller. Capsidal pushing into Dylan. Dylan turns around on him at 5 in a row. Talking about potential streak now here for the Pioneers as they continue to force CTE into off angles. All it is just ARs holding power positions. This should be a round over within the next 5 to 10 seconds. Any second now. Number 1 goes.
I was letting it breathe for that exact
and
moment.
There goes number 2.
Wasn't a 5 to 10, closer to a 15 to 20, but hey, we'll take it here. Again, just to clean up. A good job keeping their discipline and composure as well, not overextending on defense, not trying to bite off more than they can chew. They had a marginal life advantage, but they didn't go flying. They didn't go and try and spawn trap. They just sent 1 player in Dylan Rex to kind of make some noise, kill some time, and it does exactly that, like you said. Otherwise, it was just ARs and power positions, and, well, no matter who you're playing, that's a good luck, have fun regardless. CTE find themselves down 1-2 in this control offensively, weren't able to make things happen. Now we'll see here defensively if they can make the hold or if KC Pioneers find a way to win one themselves.
In the middle map, 2 drop down into the vault, but I think it was read out and spotted by a few players from CTE. It really doesn't matter though, because Capsidal's only able to get 1 for the 2 that KC took off the board. So you look back to the opside spawn. Capsidal now trying to make a route through. Contestant on the point. Both players react to it at the same time. Good team shot. Standy stays alive with 100 HP. Now Sparty and the rest of CTE are going to have to try and push up the map as far as they possibly can, but his kills that still go the way of the Pioneers. 2 players still around and in the point. Johnny in the top power position, looking over the spawn side of CTE, trying to find a couple on the cross, but it's information given away. They need to be very careful. There's players coming through middle map, and I don't think Arcides is there in time to be able to help out.
No, and you're able to get 1, but I think that second tick for sure comes in, so you don't get the time to be able to stop that second tick from coming in. You at least stop the B site from being captured, but now you know someone is in the back lines, and you're going to have to try to find a way to get them out as everyone started to constrict around you. You need to work these picks carefully, as you had said, not do anything too risky and put yourself in a situation where you can throw the round away. Great movement out of Cap there to be able to walk away with the kill as he's out to 21 and 13. Standy making moves towards this A site also, and the hop up does not get the
Okay.
gun up quick enough. Now with 3 in a row, Prolu on the back lines, trying to make something happen here. They are back on B.
I mean, Spark's just the constant aggressor over on the B zone. That's just not a good spot to be in if you're Hook. But as he flies up the map, Capsule is able to get one. Yes, I know it doesn't say Hook in the kill feed, but this is Cap still on board that we're riding with at the moment. Johnny gets good shots in, headshot to him, a double kill that goes the way of the Pioneers. As the point is cleared out, though, for the moment. You've still got 2 ticks of progress on it. You need to stop the clock at 35 seconds. It's 3 down, looking to potentially make it the final one. Standy, sure, might be there, but the reinforcements have spotted all the way up across, up across the map. 3 versus 2. Right side corner, Dylan there. Capsule in the long way haul. They stop and thwart the push yet again.
And now you have such little time to work with, and sure, you've made headway at the B site, but you haven't done anything towards A, so that puts you in a situation where, yeah, if you find yourself off both points and you can't have the clock stopped at either site, you're going to have a situation where you have to fly forward, you have to rush, and you're going to be running into iron. Spark with a great kill, 10 seconds remaining. Can they make anything happen?
Trying to push up the palm side lane, in towards middle. Capsule has to try and get some shots onto Arcides here. He's just playing the time, and that forces Arcides not to be able to step into the middle of the map, and that little split-second decision of overthinking forces a round 5. Would it have led to an eventual capture of the A site? Nobody would have known, but it doesn't even give them the opportunity to take the chance at it. No stabs given. B zone 2 ticks. Only about a tick of progress on that A site. That's a good round if you are CTE, but now you go to a round 5 where the ticks might not be exactly in your favor.
And KC
They
Pioneers
were in their favor.
Yeah, the ticks were in their favor, but KC Pioneers, a round that looked like maybe they could have walked away with how much progress they made it be. Like you said, just a good round win out of CTE, and now they have the defensive advantage. We got to see the Pioneers in this situation. Oh, just I guess now that this is a 10-hour-long broadcast, quite a while ago, but they were in a round 5 situation, and yeah, it was all defense up until that point. They pulled out one of the fastest offenses I've ever seen as far as vault control is concerned, so maybe trying to replicate that same magic here. We'll see what they can do. It was towards the B site for them the first go-around that worked. Here, they're just trying to isolate all of their forces towards this A site, get as much time on the clock as possible, and with that concentrated effort, they're finding these kills with ease.
They didn't have to go for B first. Standy now has to fly his way forward. I was going to say, it's going to be hard-pressed to find him getting out alive. Capsule with Omni movement there. Slide challenge in, lays all the way down. Wasn't ready for the repositioning of that player. And now you're just watching Standy run across an open field where he's spawning in. Hook starting to tee up and run back all the way around. 23 to 22 is the lives. And time continues to dwindle off this clock.
Cap was on a 5-3 before falling. A couple kills before they get traded, but again, that's a 3-for-2 trade. You're back to the respawn block. Johnny gonna get aggressive, gonna try to chow, and able to win that one, but again, he's still just waiting for his teammates to come in behind him and try to take a little bit more space here as he starts to work forward, and they can work towards this mid-map portion of things and get back on this A site. But once again, it's a situation where with 30 seconds left, you have nothing going for you. Like you said, Hook starting to tee off. It's 27 and 17 out of him. He has had a fantastic series, a fantastic night. And now with 20 seconds left, you get the clock stopped, but it's not going to be easy from here as you get wiped once again.
Oh no, Spard has already gotten to a middle map. Sure, you stop the bleeding for a moment, but the spawns are going to be in relatively close. Johnny pops in. 15 seconds. Clock stalled out. Prolu from the side door is good trades there, but it's 2-1 that go to CTE. Cannot allow the red and the kill feed to continue the way it is, and they do. Unfortunately, it's the Pioneers who get put down another peg, and you can feel it. It's starting to crumble here on the map. CTE, they're on the verge of being able to take their 3rd map in this best-of-7 series. They get in with just 2 seconds left and try to stop it, but as they turn back around, the final player and the nail in the coffin, time limit has expired. CTE, a 3-0 lead in this grand final. 1 vault hardpoint away from being able to take the first Challengers Cup in North America for the Black Ops 6 season.
I mean, what more can you say about the performance of all 4 of these players? It has been such a treat to watch from start to, again, what could be a finish here soon, but a series that still has a lot of tenure to it if we still happen to go the distance. But just through these first 3 maps, I mean, not even talking about the rest of the day, but how they have just been able to bounce back time and time again, where, again, you think back to the Hardpoint where they were down 100, 150 or so points. Second half turn around. They turn around the second half of that surge where, again, Pioneers can rip off 3 straight rounds and look to tie up the game. You look here where they're at a 2-1 disadvantage, rip off 2 straight rounds in order to get it, and the hard work that they did gave them defense in round 5. It's just They really are like second half warriors at this point. The way that they start a little slow and find a way to light that fire and get things going. It's really impressive to see. It's a dangerous game to play because
Yes, it
not
is.
too often are you going to be able to get caught flat-footed and have time to respond. But they've definitely made that work for themselves and put themselves in these positions to find success. So it's been impressive to see, especially in this grand final series. How much longer can they get away with it? Time will tell. But at this point, they're, like you said, one map away from winning Challengers Cup 1.
Yes, they are. North America has awaited a new champion for quite some time, and we will finally find our answer to that. Potentially after one map, we might even need to go to distance to all 7 to find it out. It would need to be a reverse sweep. Let's take a look at the scoreboard real quick from our previous match. And, it doesn't tell a complete picture regardless. But, I mean, at least we can see the first round of the control stats. So that's something that's kind of cool. Across the board, though, realistically speaking, when we look at CTE, I mean, it was just, let's get in their spawn, let's disrupt them. Let's run 2 or 3 people together, let's disrupt them. They did exactly that, and the game plan was astute. They come out with the victory on it. There's really not much more to say than that. We could go into a lot more prophetic details, but at the same time, it's been the entire series that they've been playing this way. It's not just, special to this series, or rather this map. It's not special to anything. CTE the entire day through the lower bracket, CTE inside of this grand final. Pioneers, we thought, best team that we've seen all day. After watching that lower finals and seeing how this team 3-0 their previous opponent, I was a little, I don't want to say scared for the Pioneers, but I was a bit more timid to put them as the favorite going into the grand final. Right now, CTE is exactly proving that why. But again, COD has changed so much when it comes to the formatting. Whether you want to call it, oh, this should have been 2 best of 5s. This should be a best of 7. This should be a best of 9, whatever it may be. The only fact that we can see in front of us right now is that CTE have won those first 3 maps and proved that they are going to just stick it to the Pioneers every map that they can spawn in against them.
Absolutely the case. And I think even it can be a testament to, I just think it's oil and water play styles. I mean, our city's not one of the fastest AR players that's around. Standy sure can be a fast sub at times, but paired on the other side of things, you look at the likes of Hook, you look at Cap, you look at Spart, you look at Prolu. I mean, some of the fastest young guns in the league as far as that's concerned. And I just think they play so much faster. And sure, you can hang for a bit, as we've seen if you are KC Pioneers, but Dylan Rex again at times can press forward and he can play lightning fast. That's just not this team's style, I feel like.
Sure.
And that's not dependent on one player and say our cities holds them back per se. I don't think that's the case at all, but it's just something where not all 4 players are in sync enough to play as fast and cohesively as CTE have figured out. I think CTE is a very scary team if they stick together because of those reasons. It's going to be tough to find a challengers team that can play as fast and still as efficient as CTE have played this weekend. And I think for KC Pioneers, it's going to be a tricky one to try to figure out, as they have to do it by winning 4 straight maps. But I think as far as this weekend goes, I mean, CTE have absolutely come to make a statement and show that, again, metaphorically and literally, not many teams can keep up with them.
Yeah, absolutely. Not just pride on the line here this weekend. Challengers points and money both up for stakes. 2,000 for first place, 500 for second place, and then the challengers points, or the pro points, whatever you'd like to phrase them as. That is also something, and arguably more important to a lot of these players than even the monetary value is. Obviously, I'm not going to sit here and say like the money's nothing, but regardless, 2,000 points to first place, 1,500 to second place. That's the difference between these two teams, and sometimes those 500 pro points could or could not make a difference. With the pro points that we used to play on the ladder matches back in the day, it wasn't as big of a deal, but since there's only so many points up for grab throughout the course of the year, it is a big deal to all the teams that are playing throughout the cup. So 250, 200 points, that can make all the difference between third, fourth, even fifth and sixth. So yeah, sure, all the teams that place top 64, you're looking at least some amount of points. But as we dump into this map here, CTE up 3-0, could be crowned the champion of what we would have as our first cup for the North America Challengers season in Black Ops 6. It's a double nade that was off for the Pioneers, but as we hump down into point number 1, Hook looking to make a flank route all the way in through the back. 5 seconds sure, but is red in the kill feed. That's really we've come to expect.
Who constantly turning heads even as soon as you get off spawn, and that's going to flip spawns as well as far as the timing goes of him finding kills and when he ultimately falls. So head's going to turn around for KC Pioneers as they're finding a little bit amount of time off P1 here. Quick 15 seconds accrued, and really not much contesting coming in from CTE as they're taking care of these gunfights. Hook going to be playing Top Cat, going to try to dance around and play his life as the whole time sits empty for the moment. Still, some time left to be garnered before we look to rotate. About 10 seconds remaining, and it is going to be CTE on the bottom half of the map, and really mid-map control being fought over to give yourself an easier avenue towards P2. You see Johnny pop out bottom pool. We'll see if he can make any noise here.
You lose out on the scrappy 16 to potentially go for a hill where you can get a full 60. I'm not too mad about it if I am the side of CTE. Dylan up top, though, paired with a nade from his teammates, going to be able to push that player outside of P2, but those close spawns will allow CTE to pop back inside of the hardpoint. Capsule laying in wait on the staircase will challenge up towards Standy. Standy somehow walks away with a gunfight win there. Not exactly sure how he was able to do it. But the shots were good enough with the AR at close range. They're going to try and hit out the backside. Spawn Zero also pushing from the front. It's a 4v2, and they are knocking every domino down.
From the back, you still have Johnny looking to work, but the crossfire going to be clean out of pro loot for the moment. So you really need Johnny to make a play here and get something to stick. Able to find one in the back. So now the pinch play can develop. 2 players left on time. Can they win these gunfights? No. Clean wipe going to come in, but with Hook left standing, he can do just about anything he needs to. Unfortunately, not close enough to make any kind of impact, but at least able to let this time sit great as he ends up finding 3 in that whole sequence. That was team looking to rotate towards the top side of the map. Split, parallel spawns coming in. This new hill looks to pop. A 20-point lead for CTE. They're looking to keep running the score up on a Mixie Hill.
I mean, Arcidy's put himself in a good position as he's on the north side of the map right now. Unfortunately for everybody else on the Pioneers, they're running directly into Iron Sight. Sparty will re-challenge back up to 100 HP, and just like that, snap of the fingers, it's 4 dead. Sure, they're going to spawn up close towards the hill on that right-hand side of your mini-map, but again, it's just not really too close to make a considerable push back towards the point, specifically because of the power positions that are held down by CTE. They read those spawns out, they got in the middle map, they knew where they were going to be pushing from, and all they have to do is just play and wait on a few long angles. Now, that being said, that doesn't mean the Pioneers can't push in, they absolutely do. With about 20 seconds left on this hill, they've managed to get themselves inside.
And you're happy here if you're CTE for white time. You just don't want to overextend for the scrap and look to lose spawns for next. And that's exactly what Spark's job is to play cutoff man as these players look to trickle through mid, trickle through P1. Sure, you're going to go up and maybe try to contest some old time, but with just 10 seconds of scrap you're fighting for, you're really trying to cut off these players and let your teammates work back towards this new zone. And as it pops, bottom side of the map, you know exactly where KC Pioneers are working from. Now you start to see Cap get loose on a flank. Whenever the call goes through, he's going to look to strike and unable to win that gunfight here. So it's going to be numbers and spawns favoring KC Pioneers.
Dylan might have spotted one out towards the back, and I believe he did. Turns back around, though, so there's going to be one that's just escaped to the backside spawn, but RCD snuffs it out. They're able to kill him off quickly. Pioneers, 40 points deficit. Capsule trying to fly in through the back. Southside push from CTE trying to make their way in. It's a hard hill to break, especially if somebody in the back lines. And of course, there's 3 kills that go the way of KC. So as many times as you want to try and break this hill, time and time again, it still proves to be that much more difficult. It may stay vacated for just a second, but even with those close spawns, good luck, have fun.
Good bounce back here for the Pioneers. You're going to end up on a 5 spree for your RCDs and look to cut this deficit back down to about 20 points, and still neither team having eclipsed that 100-point mark as we are back to our second set of rotations here on P1. So a close game at that. No one really having any kind of breakout performance. Maybe with 14 kills leading the lobby and a positive KD at that, kind of going to be that stepping stone for the squad as we've come to expect his performance to be. As this time sits great for the moment, Vault, a map that really can at times start to threaten and come down to game clock as we are already down to 3.5 minutes. Spart piecing here with 4 kills, wipes it on his own, soaks time on his own, and now that his teammates are here, might be able to take a breather.
I mean, everybody from the Pioneers thought, okay, if we just hit the same hill at the same time, you surely will be able to walk away with gunfight wins. And yeah, Spart had other plans. He said, I'm a one-man army. I'll stick it to you, and I'll take P1 for myself and hold it down. Wait for my teammates to get here. That's the power of CTE, worded to Atunga Vailoa. Sparty up top on the bridge, looking for Johnny on long-range shots. 3 players in the blue feed. Finally, we'll get some position in the middle of the map, but it's still about a 30-point deficit here for the Pioneers. Not an insurmountable margin by any stretch, but if CTE are able to have the rotation over to P2 like they did last time, we might be looking at a different story.
And so much of these hard points come down to, again, spawn positioning, as we had even talked earlier in the show, and how many opportunities you get to hit these hills. There is no spawn that is too far out where you don't get a few opportunities to get good looks at these hills. And I think that also makes for kind of the score lines we've seen today where teams get out to a 40 to 60 point stiff farm, and because they get opportunities, even when another team's in a good position to close that deficit, they are still in a position to close the gap and once again get them out of the hill, even if they can only get the first 30 seconds of time. So again, that 50 point stiff arm is what we've been seeing. We also see a plethora of opportunities for squads to look to break into these hard points, but that has not been the case on P2. It has simply been Hook on a rampage, getting chased down by 3-4 odd players off spawn before they can even look to get close to this hill. So once again, that lead being ran up, a pinstripe kill feed, not good enough. Cap gonna clean up the last one, and it is all CTE in the kill feed.
Mixie as we stand. P3, here we go. Time to get it locked down. Pioneers need some serious time, and they need to do a lot of damage to the CTE roster in a quick amount of time if they want any sort of semblance of carrying this series on from start to finish. So far for the first 3 and even half of this 4th map on Vault, it has seemed like CTE have been a step ahead of the Pioneers ever since that second set of rotations on map 1 of the Rewind Hardpoint. So now we go. Arcity's looking down below on the street side. Good shots to at least pepper a few up. They're not able to push just yet. Hill will sit vacated. Still a 56-point disadvantage to the side of the KC Pioneers. And CTE allow this to grow, and grow. It won't be long before we crown them the champions of North America.
They just are getting time winning where they can, even if it's scrappy, even if it's messy. There's always a player away from the rest of the pack trying to make problems, and Ice Capsule once again gets the kill there in back house and is able to secure spawns for his team. It's just there's always a thorn in the side of KC Pioneers, and the timing is always impeccable. Just when you think, okay, we can look at the front, we can wait for this push, we think we got everyone, they look to strike. It's not immediately, it's not when you would think. It's just always at the right time, and CTE have figured it out. The squad playing so well off one another. The setup immaculate for P4, and with a full 60 here, they should run this score line damn near out of reach. But RCs looks to make a break from the front. Kill feed goes pinstripe. One player here to contest. Spawn's going to be close and out as well. KC Pioneers have to get in.
At least you got the spawns. That's about all I can say. You have 2 players that run up top. They know they don't have to sit and soak the time here if they want. They can just kind of pick these Pioneers players off as they choose to. One up the staircase. Hook will find one. Snaps onto RC's. Not good for a double. Hellstorm available for CTE. And those are the last words you want to hear right now if you are the Pioneers. At least the good news is most of the hard points on this map aren't too terribly open. We'll find ourselves over towards the middle of the map once again here. 50 points. Margin slowly closing. Pioneers still down by a considerable sum.
And they're still ways away from this hard point, all consolidating that push through catwalk side, and it's going to be Hook getting loose once again. You would think that maybe for a moment that hop-up chow he can take, but not going to be able to. No worries, though. His teammates traded out 3 for 1 of the feed as they look to clean things up and garner more of this time. 10 points away from eclipsing that 200-point mark, where you kind of can feel like things are maybe going to start to go in your favor as far as closing things out go, only needing less than a hard point to win. But the contest comes in. KC Pioneers not giving up on things, and Hoop with a ridiculous shots. 27-19 to snap back. I mean, why not? Can you give him the third? Absolutely. Before he gets taken down. What more do you want from this team? What more do you want from Hoop?
Bro, it's like when I turned TV off. The little face I just made right there, like, ugh, brother. Hoop going crazy. 3 points away from the 200 mark. Pioneers will get in, but with 10 seconds left on this old P1 hill, we change the color guard back over to P2. Who will stand the test of time? Will it be the Pioneers who can finally get themselves back into the game, or will it be CTE who may be too strong to overcome? They're going to spawn close. Pioneers inside of the hill first. Hoop through the back door, going to throw a Semtex in. Prolu walks away with one. It's trades that go 2 ways, but now from the back end, they need to be careful of a pinch. Here it comes into the hill. Hoop breaks in. 200-point mark eclipsed.
With how Electric CTE are playing the back half of the... I mean, again, it's only a 45-50-point deficit. Now, again, we are closing into the 250-point margin of this, so their lead is bigger than that of the time remaining, meaning that, yeah, they can close this out with a bit more leeway than you have to get back into things, and that's exactly what they're looking to do. But Hook out to a 33-23 performance. Spart with 122 in the hill. Cap with over a minute in the hill. Again, it is fantastic gameplay through and through from CTE, but KC Pioneers find their way clawing back in this, trying to do everything they can to keep this game extended. They feel the longer they can stay alive in this, the better chance that they fare. They have not had a good P3 just yet. Spark gonna connect for sure 3 across the map. Why not force them to have to go to P3? And here you need to make a hold stick, one where you have it the entire time, and yeah, you're gonna get deleted off the map immediately. Pioneers got to make something happen.
Sandy's trying to fly out. CTE break in for a moment. Hill time once again left vacated. Shouldn't come down to much of the clock, so the clock feels a bit irrelevant at the moment. And again, not sure if that Hellstorm is still on the cards just yet. I'm sure we'll see it come out at some point if it is. Right now, though, Varsity's locking down long-range shots. Power positions in full control for CTE. It's a 3, now 4 man down. They break into the point, and again, it's just a matter of time.
Just a few moments here. 20 seconds remaining. CTE look to push the issue. I mean, they're pushing so far beyond the point. I think they just really want to try to add insult to injury. They know they're in a position where KC Pioneers have to fight for every second of time, so they aren't really too worried about a flank coming in, as they can kind of get a little aggressive with it and put themselves in these spots to find some kills. As now safely they're going to lock down P4. 15 seconds to make a push. You might be 15 seconds away from the hill at this rate. Walking into irons. 10 seconds remaining. What do you have left? What do you have in you? Answer might not be all that much. It might be too late.
4 seconds left. CTE on the outside looking for the few final kills, and it seems like they've rang home. Dylan tries to push forward. It's a 4-0. We've waited since July to have new kings crowned inside of North America, and the side of CTE, Prelude, Hook, Capsidol, and Spark will be your Challengers Cup #1 champions for the Black Ops 6 season in North America. Amber, it has been a wild one. That was gorgeous stuff. That was
it has.
a clinical series.
I mean, for a 4-0, it's just it can be challenging to get entertaining 4-0 series. But KC Pioneers, they fought, tooth and nail for that, right? Even though it was an 0-4, the maps kind of tell a bigger story than what we got to see. But I mean, just to really put the focus on the Challengers Cup 1 champions and CTE, it was brilliant to watch from top to bottom. Every facet of those maps was entertaining. When they found themselves down, they found a way back into it. And whenever they had the lead in those moments, they didn't quite look back. It just seems like they put these teams on skates, and they simply cannot get themselves in a place where they feel comfortable again. It's wonderful to watch. And like you said, waiting for new kings to be crowned. And I mean, I couldn't be happier that this squad just feels like a fresh new look at a team that maybe looks to run things this year.
This is kind of giving me that Paul X Diamond Con roster from back like 2-3 years ago. This is what it's kind of giving me in terms of like everybody knows that they deserve to probably be in the top level. Everybody knows they probably deserve a shot in the CDL. Are we going to give everybody a shot? Probably not. There's only 48 spots available. Tides are turning. If you want to drop that down to maybe 44, we can talk about that too. All things considered. But realistically speaking, I do think that CTE played some phenomenal Call of Duty all weekend long. It goes back, sure, you can talk about Hook all day long, how he was going above and beyond. Really, even for himself at times, it felt like he was almost elevated on the map. This game feels like a game he truly does understand. It feels like, at least in the early moments and early goings of this game, he feels like he can move fluently around the map. Gunfight to gunfight, the transitions, the split-second decisions that we see him making, those were some of the things inconsistency-wise that, he would play overconfident at times, challenge out too much, and then that's where the inconsistency would start. He would lose 2 or 3 gunfights, then it would just like kind of be in a lull. If he gets the ball rolling, he gets the ball rolling, and that's what makes Hook so great. But again, you're just looking to Prolute, Capsidol, and Spark. A lot of players, some people, in the scene, when it comes to the fans, will write players off. Other people, might write their names down, but it's, just 1 or 2 looks on the checklist, and then it's a move on. All of these players, both teams, Pioneers and CTE, very and extremely capable of being able to show up on any given Saturday, Sunday, Thursday, Friday, whatever you want to call it, play some great Call of Duty, and that's what we saw in the grand finals.
And it's just, again, a huge props and testament to CTE and the run they made, because they did it through the lower bracket and really had no opportunities to kind of lose anything or make any mistakes. And again, for KC Pioneers, it was a great run through winners as well. It was deserved from them. They played composed all weekend. They played like the team that, again, they are comfortable playing as, which is a bit more methodical at times. But when the heat got turned up on them, they just couldn't find a way to, get themselves back into those maps, even where they started off well. It just seems like maybe that's an uncomfortable point for them that they'll have to address, where, okay, what do we do whenever things get a little too fast? How do we settle back into our rhythm? Or, do we need to turn things up as a team? A lot of conversations happening between Cup 1 and Cup 2. Nothing I would think too dramatic for any of these squads, as, again, it's still the preliminary stages of this title. But for CTE, definitely feels good to get this one on the board, get the cash in the pocket, sure. But again, we allude to how important these pro points are for these players, and what it does to their chances, and qualifying for elites, and better seeding for lands, and so many things that can go into, getting them even noticed at that professional level, which, again, looking at all these players, right, they have those eyes. But through and through, like you said, top 64. So many opportunities for teams
Hmm.
to really kind of make a statement for themselves. And again, happy for CTE that they were able to come out here and prove something where maybe they were considered at times an underdog coming into this, looking at what teams came into Sunday.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, if there's one thing I know about CTE, you can knock them down, in this case to the lower bracket, but they'll get back up still swinging. Maybe not in the most efficient way possible, but again, that's what they do this time through. It was a best-of-7 grand finals for CTE over the Pioneers. 4-0, again, crowned champions of the North American region to start off the Black Ops 6 year. We've seen time and time again what that can do for people, just that name alone, that early season consistency alone. There's gonna be lots of conversations had, I'm sure, even in the top 4 maybe, but most likely probably anywhere from top 8 down to the other 331 teams that signed up for Cup 1 about roster changes they might want to make going into the next Cup. And if you are wondering when that next Cup is, I believe December 7th and 8th are the dates for that next upcoming Challengers Cup. So we'll of course have coverage back here once again on December 7th and the 8th for Challengers Cups 2 for North America as well as the European region. That being said, Amber, closing thoughts on the day. You had a long day of Call of Duty, as did Brody, and as did everybody else that covered the European side of things with Major, Colin, Pablo, all those different people down there, and of course the production staff that went along with it. But again, just for you specifically, any closing thoughts before we go ahead and kick this out of here?
It was a fantastic day. I mean, again, it was just props to everyone you just shouted out, right? To be able to pull together this community stream and kind of give light to, again, the challengers community where we always try to year in and year out. It was a fantastic weekend on a new title for a lot of these challengers teams. And again, there's just an optimism in the air about this game that, even looking at players specifically that we called out, right? It looks like it's going to be an exciting year for some of these players as they look to get a better feel for the game. So I think there's going to be a lot of changes and shuffling around the top that maybe we didn't have in CODs previous. So again, really excited for that. And I think this weekend was definitely a good testament to what really could happen.
Yeah, I believe we get Hacienda either just before the next Cup or right after. So we'll have a new map that most people will be familiar with, but maybe some of the up-and-coming players never played inside of Black Ops 4. God, I feel older saying that. But regardless, I just want to say a big thank you to everybody here, not only myself and Amber, but Brody for being able to get everybody together. And I mean, who could forget the beautiful people doing the production for us? James, a.k.a. Faffy Waffle, and of course Megan doing the observing for the games today on the stream. That being said, we're going to wrap things up here for tonight. Once again, congratulations to the side of CTE with Prolute, Hook, Spart, and Capsidol being your first champions in North America for the Call of Duty Black Ops 6 season. We will see you back here on December 7th and December 8th for Cup number 2 for the European and North American region. Signing off for the final time tonight. I'm Corn. With me has been Cash. Have a wonderful rest of your Sunday night.